he's sitting here pretty casual, and the black belt up here fixes his pants and then starts swinging. And ironically, he ends up in a triangle.
Shut your lips, it's time for a brand new episode of what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, said it's time for a brand new episode of Talking Jit.
All right, I got a clip we need to talk about. So it looks like this clip has been going around for about a month, and I just saw it today, and I figured we need to have a discussion about this. It seems like a black belt and a purple belt are rolling. The purple belt gets the black belt, and the black belt gets up and attacks the purple belt. Now, I'll roll the clip, we'll watch it together, and then we'll go over everything. So just to get it started, so you can see them right here. The purple belt is on top and mount, gets a choke tap, and then the black belt is up swinging. And ironically, he ends up in a triangle. So gets back-to-back choked. Still raining punches. So locked in, he gets out. If I had the audio playing, you can hear he's yelling, "I'll kill you. I'm going to kill you." So let's go over this a little bit. I figure this is a good discussion because although I don't have the audio playing, there's not really much to it. Seems like there's a couple different routes we can take with this. All right. My thoughts watching the video the first time is this might be pure ego, right? Because the black belt is obviously stuck on bottom. We don't have a clear enough footage to go through to see if there is anything foul going on here. But the black belt claims the purple belt was neck cranking him and that he was being dirty, and evidently he started swinging and attacking, right? So you can see right here, they get up. Seems like pretty casual, right? He's sitting here pretty casual, and the black belt up here fixes his pants and then starts swinging. And you gotta love it because he's raining punches and he ironically ends up in a fucking triangle. So, the discussion here we need to have, first and foremost, I think it's an ego move. I think from my first view of it, without knowing anything behind it, I think this is an ego move. I think the black belt got tapped and frustrated and stuck, and that was his way to retaliate. We've all kind of been there, and I think that you are probably lying if you say you haven't. Um, there's been times at the gym where I'm stuck in a frustrated position or I just get straight up caught, and my mindset gets pissed off and I see red, right? We see red. But from another perspective, I never brought it to punches in the gym, all right? There's one time with a training partner, a good friend of mine, back in the MMA days, where him and I started going a little bit harder and harder and harder. And as the sparring went on, and I'm talking full MMA sparring, I'm not talking jiu-jitsu, but as the sparring went on, it turned out to be almost like a full-fledged fight. But that's a little bit different. Here we have two guys practicing jiu-jitsu. It is not the same to me. As a black belt, you might feel like you're not allowed to get caught by lower belts, or you might not feel dominant. But here's the thing, man. My mindset now as a brown belt knocking on the black belt's door is sometimes I'm just training. A lot of times I'm just trying new stuff. I am putting myself in bad positions to try new things. I don't like being the boring guy who just goes in the gym every day and does my same exact A game over and over and over. It drives me crazy. I start questioning things, I start wanting to learn more things, and I just think it helps complete your game. And for me as a coach, helps give me new looks, right? So I think there's no harm, no foul getting caught every once in a while. If you're Competition training, maybe you're putting yourself through a lot of pressure and this makes a little bit more sense. But if you are just in the gym training as hobbyists and a purple belt catches you, yeah, shame on you. You could be disappointed in yourself, but you still have time on the clock. I mean, the way this purple belt was sitting here was almost like he was expecting to go again, like taking a breath, and you can reset and you could prove your point right afterwards. I've done it plenty of times. It is also funny because as an upper belt, there are times where someone gets a good position on me or I'm working something new, right? And because they get that position and because I'm working something new, they get a little bit cocky. I've seen it, I've heard it in the background. I've heard people going up to other people and being like, yeah, I gave Kevin a hard time the other day, or I held him down the whole time the other day. Not knowing that I am completely comfortable in whatever compromising position they put me in. And I'm either working my way out, I'm trying new looks, or I'm trying something I saw on YouTube or the internet and making sure it works or seeing if it works or if it's just baloney, right? So in this case, to me, that's the angle that makes the most sense. The black belt had an ego problem. Maybe this guy's been giving him a hard time. He got caught, but the ironic and the funny part is right here. This is the funniest part to me. Comes in raining punches. He lands a few, but he ultimately ends up in a freaking triangle. As a black belt, you have got to know you are in a triangle. I don't care how mad you get, dude. You have to see that coming. And the other ironic thing to me is that everyone wants to claim jiu-jitsu is a badass sport, which it freaking is. It's way more badass than it looks. Once you get in it and the people who do it, you feel me on this. But it came down to punches. It came down to striking. It's not like he lost the match and then came at him harder to beat him with grappling. He threw punches in there. So it's funny to me that he gets mad and gets choked again. And the only thing we're missing in the audio really is you can hear him saying, I'm going to kill you or something down that line. It's not very nice. But the black belt is claiming that it's a neck crank, which in the same case, like I would tap if I feel like my neck's getting cranked. We cross face each other all the time in training. We go for, if you can't, sometimes you can't get the neck, sometimes you get the chin and you push the chin in. Sometimes it's a pressure lock. But hmm, let's break it down a little more clean, okay? We're in a training environment. There's no ref, no crowd, no medals on the line, right? Kind of like what I was saying earlier. Except for like maybe some homies watching, but it looks like they're all busy. The purple belt locks up the choke from mount, the black belt taps. That should be the end of the story. But instead of resetting, the black belt gets up and starts swinging. To me, that is not okay. Funny story. There's one of two times that I can think of that I've been mad on the mat like that, like outraged. One time I was going with a white belt and we were doing positional training and we were doing back stuff. So the goal was to take the back. My goal was to defend my back. And this white belt kicked me in the balls so hard that my stomach was churning right off the rip, right off the bat. My stomach was hurting, my in between my legs were hurting, and every time I went to grab down there to check on the boys, this guy just kept coming on me, jumping on me. Oh, that didn't sound right. Every time I went down to cup the boys, this guy just kept jumping on me. And I would like push away and get some space and go to reach down, and he would jump over and try to grab my neck. He was not understanding the fact that I was like trying to get space to check on myself, and I stopped fighting all the way to the point to where I just stood up with him trying to take my back. I just stood up, famous thing, just stand up. And this guy's still dangling off my back, and I just threw my arm around him and gave him a nice hard trip and throw down to the ground. And I stepped on his leg as I walked over him, and I yelled at him and I said, "Get the F off of me." That was one time I lost my temper in training, and it was because I was hurting, and the dude was not understanding I was hurting, and I was trying to go check on the boys. I mean, this was bad, bad. This wasn't just like got tapped in the sack and I had to go. Like this was like I was a little bit concerned about down there. So that being said, that was one time, and I think the second time I got hit in the nose really hard, but I turned that aggression into training aggression, and I came at that person like trying to, beat them on the mats. So I'm more curious as to what you guys think about this. Is this dignified? Does the guy deserve to start swinging because he feels he got neck cranked? Is this black belt behavior? I mean, or is this purple belt completely in the right? Maybe he just had a good day. Who knows? Or this could be ego, and this guy could be a little bit insecure about his training and decided to take it out on this guy. But look, if you train jiu-jitsu, this conversation matters. In the sport, with more and more gyms opening every day, the sport is growing insanely fast. Um, you're gonna have a few bad apples, but it's important, especially when someone has a platform or a way to talk, or like the forum or the community I have on this channel. Let's have the conversation. And if you like the content so far, like and subscribe. I am sick of feeding my kids ramen noodles. It is getting exhausting. I'm doing jiu-jitsu lessons on the streets for 10 cents a lesson. So like the video, share it, and help me grow this channel. My new goal is 100 subscribers. So until then, peace.
They try to drown me, I can swim upstream so profoundly. I can stay calm in a dire situation. I'm at it every day, no time for a vacation. And I smell blood in the water. Everything I do, yeah, I do it for my daughters. Now go and shut your lips. It's time for a brand new episode of What? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, said it's time for a brand new episode of Talking Jit.